After a drawn-out, silly season that stretched all the way to Abu Dhabi, we finally have our Formula One grid for 2023. And while the majority of the teams are sticking with their current lineups, we're about to see some really exciting rookies enter the sport as well. So, from the championship-winning Red Bull to an exciting new look for McLaren, here are all the drivers and teams racing in the sport next season. First up, we've got Red Bull. Building on their Drivers' Championship success from the 2021 season, Red Bull had arguably one of the most dominant runs that the sport has ever seen. Sure, they didn't quite manage to get that 1-2 in the end, but they were miles ahead of the competition in essentially every metric. And despite their cost cap penalties, it doesn't look like anyone can stop them heading into 2023. Of course, that's due to the caliber of their two drivers, Max Verstappen and Sergio Perez. Verstappen squeezed into the list of all-time greats by emphatically winning the title with 15 Grand Prix victories, while Checo served as a really competitive wingman. Sure, the Mexican would love to have a better go at the championship next year, but he should be proud of all that he's done for the team. Not to mention, the teammates' feud at the end of the campaign will only spark the fire for an even more competitive rivalry at the energy drink outfit, so we can't wait to see what they've got in store for us. Up next, we have Ferrari. The curious case of the Scuderia continued in 2022 as well, as the team had yet another one of its signature bizarre seasons. Starting off incredibly well with a win in Bahrain, the team totally lost the plot by the end, thanks to engine failures and some very bad strategic decisions. And honestly, they were lucky to finish second ahead of Mercedes. Of course, that doesn't mean the 2023 season can't be better. Yeah, we know. Time for Ferrari fans to inhale their annual dose of copium. Still, at least they have a competitive car now, right? Also, with Binotto out of the door, who knows what wonders the next team principal will do. That said, the team's strength obviously lies in its driver lineup, which remains unchanged for a third straight season. Carlos Sainz and Charles Leclerc are two of the most exciting drivers on the grid, with Leclerc leading the charge for the Scuderia. Then again, even though the Spaniard had a slower start than his Monegasque counterpart, he is now fully settled into the Maranello team as well. Now let's look at Mercedes. 2022 was easily the weakest campaign that the Silver Arrows have had since, well, almost a decade. But the fact that they still managed to recover so brilliantly and finish third with a race win under their belts means that they've got a strong foundation heading into next year. Now, of course, there's been a lot of speculation about their driver lineup, with Lewis Hamilton approaching the end of his career. Having said that, even though he couldn't quite maintain his record of winning a race in every single season, he still proved why he's a 7-time world champion. Plus, now that the silly season is over, we know that he's got every intention of staying with the team for many years to come. Perhaps even more exciting, however, is their other driver, George Russell. His resurgence has been a godsend for Mercedes, as not only is he an incredibly exciting young talent, but he's got the maturity and racecraft to lead the team to great things in the future. Besides, his maiden Grand Prix victory in Brazil proved just how good he is. So heading into 2023, they're set to launch a title bid and retake the crown. Moving on, we've got Alpine. Over the past few years, Alpine hasn't really made much progress in terms of getting out of that midfield. The 2022 season, however, was perhaps the breakthrough year for them, as they finished best of the rest behind Mercedes. Of course, a works team backed by Renault would expect even better results. Still, it's a testament to the work that they've done over the years. That being said, their driving lineup is still not as strong as some of the other top teams. Don't get us wrong, Pierre Gasly and Esteban Ocon are two incredibly fast drivers. Then again, this wasn't the French team's first choice lineup at all. In fact, they were ready to boot Fernando Alonso out of the team and replace him with a young Aussie prospect, Oscar Piastri, and we all know how that saga panned out. Having said all that, they're still a super competitive outfit with a good mix of aggression and experience, so P4 should be the bare minimum for them next year. Coming up, we have McLaren. Let's be fair for a sec. McLaren should have finished the season higher than P5, as their car was more than good enough to be the best of the rest. Not to mention, they were the only team to score a podium outside the big three. So what went wrong? Well, for starters, the outgoing Aussie, Daniel Ricciardo, just couldn't get to grips with the car. Next season's going to be different though, as they've replaced the Honey Badger with a younger Australian in Oscar Piastri. Now, despite all the hype and press he's had, especially with the drama with Alpine, Piastri remains an unknown quantity in F1, and it could take the rookie some time to settle into the top tier of motor racing. Then again, he is the most exciting exciting young prospect on the grid, meaning that if he can replicate his Formula 2 form, we can expect some great things from him. Oh, and don't write his teammate Lando Norris off either, as even though he's been with the team for many years now, he's still super young and continues to be one of the most consistent performers on the grid. Now for Alfa Romeo. Alfa was perhaps the most impressive team of the bunch this season. Sure, they didn't break any records or anything, but finishing 6th despite having a new driver pairing is massive. Not to mention they've been incredibly consistent throughout the year. So, heading into next year, they're retaining their lineup of the Chinese rookie Zhou Guanyu and the Finnish veteran Valtteri Bottas, who's been a godsend for them. Besides, now that Zhou has had a full year to settle into the sport, we can expect his performances to turn up a notch as well. Following up, let's take a look at Aston Martin. Now, Aston Martin finished the season level on points with Alfa, which, honestly, means a successful year for them. Plus, they've got a strong foundation for a car for the 2023 season as well. Oh, and their driver lineup, despite a big change, will also continue to be as strong as it's always been. Of course, Sebastian Vettel's retirement has left a big hole in the team, but they've replaced him with another veteran, Fernando Alonso. Still, even if the Spaniard continues to prove his worth in the sport, there are some question marks looming over his teammate, Lance Stroll, who has sort of faded into the background. So, if Aston Martin wants to be successful, he'll have to step up big time in 2023. Not to mention Haas. The American outfit arguably had one of its strongest outings yet in 2022, finishing 8th in the Constructors Championship. Still, they could have easily gone even higher if they didn't have all the engine failures and crashes. That's why, for next year, they're changing their approach and opting for experience rather than youth. So Mick Schumacher is out of the team and is being replaced by the ever-present Nico Hülkenberg. Interestingly, though, he doesn't really have a great history with his new teammate Kevin Magnussen, so it's going to be fascinating to see how their relationship evolves in 2023. Next up, we have AlphaTauri. The Red Bull Junior team had a pretty disappointing season, as they failed to reproduce their past glory. Not to mention their driver lineup is also arguably getting worse for 2023, as Pierre Gasly has left the team for Alpine. Now, of course, Yuki Tsunoda's got a lot of pace under his belt, but the Japanese driver hasn't quite managed to be consistent enough in his first 2 years. So now that Gasly's gone, he's got to step up and be the team leader, especially with a rookie arriving by his side in Nick de Vries. Having said that, the team's still got a ton of unknown potential, making it the wild card outfit for the next season. Finally, we've got Williams. Even though Frank Williams has left the team, things haven't really gotten much better for them. Like, there's still the back markers in virtually every race. Then again, even scoring 8 points this season should count as a major achievement. The most exciting bit for them, however, is the fact that they're getting rid of Nicholas Latifi and replacing him with the young American Logan Sargent. Plus, they're also retaining Alex Albon next to him. And honestly, even though they probably won't have a fast car next season, their incredible driver lineup could drag them out of position 10. That's a wrap for this video. Which team do you think will surprise us in 2023? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.